It looks like Joy says hello.
Hey,
Hi, Joy. Thanks for letting us know you're on.
Hi, Joy. Booyah.
Wonderful. We can now see ourselves. That way we'll be able to see the questions that you ask. How many people do we have right now?
Right now we have 6 people watching. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
7, huh?
It's a party now. Awesome. So we'll go ahead and just kind of get started, and then hopefully we'll get some people to kind of join in the conversation and things like that. But just to sort of get ourselves going, we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves so you all know who we are. But my name is Stephanie Francis. I'm one of our undergraduate admissions officers here at JU. Right now I work with all of our local students here in Duval County, so I serve all of our main local Jacksonville students. And I am an alumna of the university. I graduated in 2017 with a degree in sport business, so I am all JU all day. I'll just introduce herself.
Hey guys, my name is Jess White. I am also a Dolphin alumni. I'm a double Dolphin. I did my undergrad and graduate degrees in elementary education here at JU. I'm also an admissions officer, and I work with a lot of our population in the Northeast, as well as some random states all across the country. We also have Dan with us.
Hey guys, I'm Dan. I work with undergrad and international students. I cover New York and Georgia primarily. I'm a JU alum as well, 2005 graphic design.
So you guys have been awesome. I know we got a lot of really great questions that came in over our Instagram story and through social media like that. So we're definitely going to get to answering some of those. And then hopefully we want to make this as interactive as possible. That's kind of the point of us doing this. So please feel free throughout the entire live feed to go ahead and drop your questions in the comments. Dan over here has the computer, and he's going to be keeping track of those questions. So as they pop into your head, even if it's in the middle of us speaking, feel free to drop those questions. He'll keep track of them so we can answer them later on. And then we'll get to all of those throughout the kind of the question and answer. But just to kind of kick things off, we just wanted to sort of open it up to just a general overview of what this specific or Facebook Live was going to be all about. So with our application, it just went live this week on August 1st. So you can officially apply to be a part of the class of 2019. Well, I guess it would be starting class. You'd be graduating high school class of 2019. That application is now live. Jump on it. Jump on the application. You get it. So yeah, if any of you want to go ahead and type that into your application for JU, if you're looking to apply to JU, this will actually waive your application fee.
We're also sharing that in the comments on the live. That way you'll be able to see that as well, and you can do that to use it to waive the application fee and apply for free. This is also the first of one of many Facebook Lives that we're going to do. So today we are going over, like Steph said, the application itself, the different types of applications that are out there, as well as some tips and tricks for applying to JU.
Yeah. So, that's primarily the focus of this Q&A. We're going to have several different of these live Q&As throughout the next few months. So we're really excited for these. We've got some awesome topics planned out that are going to cover a lot of different subjects, everything from like how to write different extra materials like resumes and essays to college fair etiquette to all different kinds of stuff. So if you all have any questions about those, I mean, you can feel free to ask them now, but just know that we are going to have several different, even like financial aid sessions and stuff like that. So this isn't your only opportunity to ask us questions. We will have more, so tell your friends, tell your parents, definitely tune in. We do them here on Facebook, and then we also have a later session on Instagram as well. So, after school time, once classes start back up again, if you guys want to tune into Instagram, you can do that as well.
And so we'll get started by talking about the different type of applications. There are 3 real types of applications that we often see. Steph, do you want to start by talking about the Coalition app for us?
Yeah, so 3 main applications, like she said. Coalition, it's not something you're going to hear as often. It is relatively new. JU does not personally use the Coalition app, but we wouldn't be doing you all justice by not telling you all about it, because a lot of the schools you're applying to might be using Coalition app. Basically, common practice with that, like I said, it is relatively new, so if you are utilizing it, there's a lot of things you're still trying to work out with it. It is kind of complex, so just be sure that you're asking your guidance counselor and your admission officer for that specific university how to navigate that. Please don't feel embarrassed to ask questions about it, because like I said, it is a very new system. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's very much designed to be student-centered and give you a lot of the freedom to input your own information. So if you're not familiar with how to do all of that stuff, like how to input your own transcripts and how to input your own test scores and things like that, that's perfectly fine. No one expects you to be an expert. Just make sure you ask those questions.
So next up we have the Common Application. That is one application that, there are thousands of schools on that. We are on the Common Application if you want to apply. You are able to use one application to apply to, I believe it's up to 10 different schools. You will pay a small fee in order to use the Common App, and then a small fee for each school that you send your application to. It's kind of convenient if you aren't sure where you want to go to school, but you want to start applying. That's one that you can use in order to use the same application. It's a little more generalized than applying to a school specifically. And then the next application we have is the JU application, and that one can be found on our website. That one is very specific to our campus. That's one that we spend a lot of time creating and working on. I always recommend for students to apply to your first choice school directly. We look at Common App and the JU app the same. It just allows you to be a little bit more specific as far as your essay topics, as far as your involvement and all of that type of stuff. And again, you can use that fee waiver code on our application.
Yeah, so those are, like we said, that's how you're going to get started. The first step in doing an application is what kind of application am I actually going to be filling out. So I figured that was kind of a good place to start, but right now we thought it would be a pretty good opportunity to start off with answering some of the questions that you all have sent in already. So again, for those of you who are watching us live right now, if you have questions you've been thinking of, or if you're coming up with questions, if you hear anything that sparks anything, start putting those in the comments. Dan will keep track of them. But we're going to go ahead and start answering some of those questions that have been sent in. And then after we get through some of those, if anyone can't think of any questions because you're kind of on the spot or something, don't worry. We've got some frequently asked questions that these are things that we feel like you should be thinking about right now. Don't worry, we'll help you all out. We're not going to hang you out to dry. So we'll kind of get started with that.
So our first question comes from Anna, 18. It says, "Hey JU, this is my dream school. However, I don't have a great GPA. Say my GPA is a 3.0 and I score higher than a 1300 on the SAT, and I've done many extracurricular activities. Would I have a shot at getting accepted?"
So we base our application decisions on a holistic process. So Steph and I will kind of go back and forth on what we look for our students. Our average GPA this past year was a 3.45, and then we have our average test scores as well. But we're a test optional university, which means you don't have to submit test scores unless you want to. With the numbers that you gave us, absolutely send us an application, because we don't just look at a GPA, we don't just look at a test score. We're gonna look at everything that you send us.
Yeah, pretty much exactly what she said. I know there's kind of a negative stigma out there that you may have heard about this whole holistic review process, and some people sort of use it as an excuse to kind of get around using soft requirements and stuff for applications, but quite literally all that term means is that we're going to look at every single material you send to us in your application. So all three of us here, we are very real people who spend our days quite literally sitting at a computer reading your applications. And so I always tell every single student, the only materials we require you to submit for your application are your application information, so like your birthday, your parents' information, your extracurriculars, your essay, and your transcripts. Anything else you submit to us is completely optional. So if you don't want us to look at it, you don't have to submit it. If you do want us to look at it, we will look at it. So it's kind of completely up to you. Just kind of always keep that in the back of your mind. That's pretty much common practice. That's where that whole holistic review process comes in. I would never discourage a student to not apply because they excelled in tests and they didn't excel in GPA, or maybe they had sort of an imbalance in one area or the other, because those are all things that can be explained. So maybe you can just explain in your essay hey, I'm just a really great test taker, or maybe I just had a couple classes I didn't do so well in, and that helps us get to know you better as a person. So
And if you don't necessarily meet our averages, that's okay. We accept students every year that, are above our averages, below our averages, because we truly do look at everything you send us. Even with your essay, like Steph said, that's a great opportunity to explain yourself in that essay, because we do sit and read essays every single day. We don't need a 12-page research paper. You don't want to write it. We don't want to read it. We want one really good essay that lets us know who you are, what was going on while you're in school, what your goals are, and why you want to come to school at JU. That'll really help us get the best picture of you that we're looking for. And if we don't have enough information, we ask students all the time for additional information before we make a decision at any time. Yep. Next question.
Bring them on.
Next question is from Destiny Ann Marie. She says, hello, I was wondering if you're going to be adding a zoology program anytime soon.
Awesome. So we actually don't offer a zoology major or minor at JU. There are some zoology courses that you can take. They're kind of an umbrella under our marine science program, which is an absolutely phenomenal program here at JU. So if any of you are interested in sort of the marine sciences or any of the environmental sciences, any of those types of areas, JU is a really great school to be looking at. So like I said, we don't offer zoology specifically. If that's something you're really passionate about specifying in, maybe you might have to explore some other options that we do offer. So you would have the chance to take some zoology classes here at JU. You just wouldn't be able to actually major or minor in it. As far as if they're looking to implement it in the future, I know if you ever come by for a tour on campus, we could definitely sit you down with some of our faculty members, and they love talking to prospective students about their future plans for the university. They would probably be the better people to ask about that, but I'm actually not quite sure. You would definitely want to ask some of our faculty members. You can also find their contact information online. So if you go to ju.edu and you go to our academic programs, and you go to any of our academic programs, you can find our faculty members' email addresses on there. Even if you're a high school student, don't be afraid.
Love to hear from us.
Yeah.
Love to hear from you. They get so excited. And so any questions you have about that, absolutely send it their way.
Yeah, don't be intimidated just because they have PhDs and tons of experience. They truly teach at schools like JU because they want personal relationships with prospective students and with current students because they want to help students like that. So I would definitely encourage you to reach out to one of them and ask them a little bit more about the programs we do offer to see if maybe something here would be a better fit for you.
The next one we have is from one of our alumni, Kritika Vincent. She was an international student coming in and is curious as to what our onboarding process is for current international students coming in and how we can help them with the adjustment.
Hi, Kritika, if you're watching.
Hey,
Hello. So we have changed our onboarding process a little bit for our international students. We now do offer the week that our international students get here, they actually have a separate orientation where they're able to meet with current international students, really get to form those relationships. Also, our student life department, we have Miss Susan in there who's wonderful and works with all of our international students. And if you kind of want to piggyback too, also.
Yeah, so the international orientation is awesome because you'll not only get to meet students who are kind of in the same situation and kind of in the same boat as you. You kind of build those relationships, and it's nice to have someone to relate to. But like Jess said, you also have current students who are leading those orientations, so it's kind of nice to have that almost mentor, somebody that you can exchange numbers with and have someone to kind of guide you once you actually get onto campus. And it's sort of like you already made one friend when you come here. So if you know nobody else, you at least have one person to call if you need to know where the cafe is or something like that. And then Miss Susan is a great point of contact, Susan Bonfanti. She works over in student life. She works with a lot of our international students coming over and kind of helping you ease that transition, whether it's finding new housing, anything that has to do with any of your paperwork with your documentations and stuff like that. So best advice for international students, and since Dan works with them as well, if I'm missing anything, but definitely make sure that you have, you're talking to CK and Sandra work a lot. I'm sure if you're an international student, you've probably heard these names, or you will hear these names once you apply. They'll work with you with forming or getting your visas taken care of, so make sure you have all of that squared away with plenty of time in advance, because some of those things can take a long time to process. Just make sure you have all of your travel arrangements done before you actually get here, because you don't want to step off the plane and not know where you're going or where you're living or anything like that. And then just make sure that you're just keeping in contact with every single person possible. But we will try and make that as smooth as possible. We do have all of the resources available to you. You just kind of got to make sure that you know who to talk to, or that you're actually putting forward the outreach so that we can help you out.
And we do have an international student association as well. So once you are a student on campus, you don't have to be an international student to join that organization, which is something that's really great. But that's a really great networking opportunity for you to kind of get out there and get involved on campus. That's at least a great gateway there.
And we have one more from. It says, are there any other scholarships that I may potentially qualify for?
So we offer merit scholarships when students apply to the university for our strong students. The day you get your acceptance letter to JU, you'll also know if you qualify for one of those merit scholarships. The range that they, are every year changes a little bit, but those are based off of everything in your application, everything from the classes you took, the rigor of your classes, your essay, GPA, all test scores if you choose to send them. All of that is encompassed in making that scholarship decision. We also do have a lot of great outside scholarships that apply to JU, but also to other schools if you're interested, and those can be found on ju.edu. Underneath the financial aid page, it says scholarships, and you can find that link there as well. So if you are looking for specific scholarships, you want to make sure that you do start looking early as well, because those scholarships normally are filled pretty early on.
Yeah, we also have a lot of specific programs at JU that offer scholarships as well. So not going to make any assumptions about anybody who's watching this, but if any of you are being a recruited athlete, or maybe any of you are kind of in the earlier years of high school and have the chance still to be a recruited athlete, we are a Division I school, so if that's something you've ever been passionate about, definitely make sure that you're reaching out to the coaches. If you are fortunate enough to get a scholarship to play for a Division I school, there is the possibility to have a conversation with the coach about a possible athletic scholarship we can offer. If you're a talented musician, again, that's kind of similar with athletics. We do offer auditions for music, visual arts, performing arts, things like that. You could possibly have an audition or a portfolio review, and based off of the faculty members' review, you could possibly earn yourself a talent scholarship that could be used. And then one of the other big things is an honors scholarship. So we do have an honors program. For those of you who are going to be applying, definitely keep this in your mind. We do typically, I know this past year, we haven't really discussed too much if we're going to be changing it, but the standards pretty much stay around the same. It's around a 3.8 weighted GPA in order to qualify, and then you will have to submit either an SAT or ACT in order to qualify. And so it's around a 1290 SAT and then a 27 ACT. If you have those kind of statistics going there, it's a separate application. You can get really creative with it. You make yourself like a video interview, send it in with a different application, and some letters of recommendation and stuff like that. And then we have a really fun honors competition day where you go through some like team leadership and building activities, so we can kind of get to know you in like a team setting and stuff like that. And if you're selected for the honors program, typically our honors students also receive a bump in their merit scholarship as well. So even within the university, within the specific programs as well, there are some additional opportunities for scholarships, just depending on what your talents or special skills are.
And to piggyback off of honors, if you heard those requirements and think, hey, I'm a great candidate, you can let us know on your application. It says, are you interested in honors? Yes or no? Go ahead and click yes. That allows us to know that you are interested. That way we can stay in communication with you to make sure you don't miss any of those important deadlines and that type of stuff. Do we have any questions?
Well, as a follow-up for me, what do you guys think what do you look for when you're looking at applications? What's a way that these students can really impress you with an application?
I personally cannot stress enough how important your essay is, especially at a school that takes the time to do a holistic review process, because we're not just running your application basically through a program that says you have to have this GPA and this test score and you're either accepted or not accepted, because you actually have a person who sits there and takes the time to get to know who you are and how you're going to fit onto our campus. Like just said, we do have average GPAs and test scores and things like that, but they're not minimum requirements. We really have accepted all different types of students from all different walks of life. And so your essay is really your only chance for us to get to know you as a person through your own words. And so I'm sure all of you are fantastic people, but what I always tell my students is that I don't know you're a fantastic person unless you tell me. So your essay is really your chance to, if you've had slip-ups, explain them to me. They're not excuses. Sometimes there's, life happens, and it's important to know those things about a person. And if you have really passionate goals and things like that, sometimes I've had a lot of students who their essay has made or broken their application. So I would say, if nothing else, make sure you start that essay early. Make sure that your teachers and your friends or family are proofreading them and things like that, and just make sure that it's well read and taken care of.
Absolutely. We're not always necessarily looking for just the 4.0 student. We are looking for a student that is well-rounded, because we want well-rounded students that we can turn into well-rounded graduates and individuals. If you worked, if you were taking care of siblings, if something was going on and your GPA or test score is a little lower than our average, or a little lower than you think it should, explain that to us, because again, like Steph said, that's the only way that we're gonna know. If we just see that on there, like, oh, okay, they didn't really explain it, we have nothing to go off of. So that's your one opportunity to really kind of show yourself in the best light. And again, if we have any questions, we will reach out to you, but it's a lot easier for you to explain it just the first time to us and kind of fill in those blanks for us.
So staying on that topic, when should I apply? How long should I expect it to take to get a decision?
Absolutely. So our application did open, as we said earlier, we have our fee waiver code over there, opened August 1st. We are rolling admissions, and so we are rolling admissions, and every school you apply to is going to be different. Some are rolling, some have a decision deadline. At JU, we want you to apply anytime during your senior year. We always recommend earlier the better. The most popular time to apply is typically between August and October. That way, if you are fine arts or you're applying for scholarships or honors, athletics, anything like that, we have plenty of time to get you a decision, and you have plenty of time to make your final decision. Even if you decided to apply, we had one student apply on August 1st. We had everything ready to review their application. As soon as you submit everything, you won't start getting decisions from us until October. We wait to release all decisions, and then from there we'll do it on a bi-weekly basis, and we do that to align it more with the FAFSA.
Yeah, definitely. Like she said, first wave of decisions will go out in October, and then typically after that, it's about a 3 to 4 week turnaround, we say. So we do have rolling admission, but like Jess said, I would definitely encourage students, if you're ready to submit your application, I always encourage students, the sooner the better, just because it's something that nobody really likes to talk about, but college and choosing what college you're going to go to is really, most importantly, it's a huge financial decision for you and for your family. And so the sooner that you can have your acceptances to colleges, and that you can start receiving your financial aid packages and start getting a realistic idea of what your possibilities are going to be after you graduate high school, the sooner you can start, saying, okay, these are my realistic options, these are my realistic choices, and start narrowing it down. And the last thing that you want to do if you graduate high school on May 31st is wait until May 25th to start that process. And it's just going to be very stressful. You want to enjoy your senior year of high school with all of your friends and your family. It's a really exciting and busy time in your life. So, I always say that the sooner that you can get all of those stressful conversations out of the way, the more time you have to say, oh my goodness, I'm not getting as much financial aid as I thought I was going to. I need to apply for more scholarships. And the sooner you can get all of that stuff taken care of, you're going to save yourself a lot of stress in the long run. So definitely the sooner the better.
And all of those rising seniors, now is the time. If you're not sure, if you've never started this process of looking colleges or speaking with admissions officers, now is the time to do so. Please call us, whether you're looking at JU or another school, we'd be happy to help you and kind of give you some guidance on this process, because this is what we do every day.
No, not yet, but I do have a follow-up for you guys. But also, get it in quick, get it in sooner than later for sure is a great advice on that. But just switching gears maybe to tours, if I'm interested in coming out for a tour, since I know you guys are former ambassadors living that tour life, can you tell us a little bit about what to expect, what I might learn, and are there any benefits for me coming down here to tour?
Do it. Go on a campus tour. Go on 10 campus tours. If you've got schools down the road from you, go visit them. If you're looking, from out of state, try, schedule one, make sure mom and dad are okay with it. You can do them over spring break. We do them over holidays as well. We love to have kids come and take a view of our campus because you don't really get a sense for a school until you're able to walk on and see the type of students there, see if you kind of resonate with the vibes you're getting.
Yeah, if you can do an official campus tour, those are obviously super beneficial because you can sit down with an admission officer and they can kind of walk you through that whole process. You can most likely sit down with someone from financial aid and talk about that. You can have a student ambassador or tour guide kind of give you the history and the background of the school, but if you don't have the time to do all of that, because I know that's a huge commitment and some of you aren't. We have a lot of out-of-state students and we have a lot of international students, and that's not super realistic. You can do like what I did. I never went on an official college tour when I was in high school, but I played travel softball when I was in high school. So my family and I made a goal where anytime I had a softball tournament in a different city, my parents made me make a list of all of the colleges within a 25-mile radius around the softball tournament. And when I had breaks in the tournament, we went and drove to those colleges and we just kind of walked around. And that's kind of how I always planned my college visits, was doing that. So if any of you are taking like vacations with your families or visiting relatives or anything else like that, that's a pretty good place to start. Just kind of go online and like look up what colleges or universities are in the area, and just kind of start from there, even if you don't have the time to take an official tour. But I would definitely encourage you to take an official tour if you have the time, because they can be really beneficial.
We also have a virtual tour on our website as well for students that are, out of the country or out of state. We have a large population, like Steph said, coming from outside of Florida. And so if you're not sure whether or not it's worth jumping on a plane, take that virtual tour too. Spend some time on our website and explore what the campus has to offer, and then you can come down and visit us face to face once you've narrowed it down a little bit.
We talked about that business scholarship.
Yes. So honestly, I don't even know how we forgot, because it's the greatest part of scholarships and visiting. But we do also offer a visit scholarship here at JU. So if you do have the time, I mean, it kind of sweetens it a little bit. We do also offer a one-time visit scholarship. So if you are making the commitment to come to campus and come and see us, it's typically before the Accepted Students Day of your senior year, which is around April of your senior year. If you come and visit us, we will give you a $1,000 scholarship. It's a one-time scholarship for your senior year, but it's $1,000 more than you have right now. So you should do that.
We have another question from Kaylin. It is, does JU prefer one type of application over another?
So we look at them all the same. As we mentioned earlier, the two applications that JU uses is the Common Application and then our Jacksonville University app, which can be found on our website, ju.edu. We look at them the same. The only difference is the Jacksonville University application is a little bit more specific. Now, on the Common Application, when you're applying to the 10 different schools, each school will have a little section where they ask specific questions. Take your time on those. There is an opportunity to fill in some additional information. That's your plug. If you're choosing to fill out the Common Application, that's your plug to fill out why you want to come to JU, what your goal is in Jacksonville. That'll really help us out as well.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about the on-campus organizations or not super competitive D1 sports? Are there any sports that they could join?
Yeah, so there's some tons to do on campus. That's one thing that I really loved about JU going here. My whole life I thought that I really wanted to go to a big university because I thought I was going to miss out on the whole student life experience. But JU is really cool because you kind of have the best of both worlds, because you have those small class sizes, but then you have over 100 clubs and organizations in D1 sports, and there's Greek life and intramurals and stuff like that. So it is really awesome. We have a really active student life. It's very rare that you see a student who's not involved in anything on campus. Pretty much everybody is involved in at least a club or organization that pertains to their major, or a sport, or Greek life, or a social club, or an honor society, or something like that. So there's tons to do. Intramurals are a lot of fun. The cool thing about them is they're actually on by like popular demand. So if the students show enough interest in one sport, then that's how they'll implement an intramural sport. So one year Quidditch was like a big thing everyone wanted to do. So they had a Quidditch intramural team. And then last year everyone wanted to do, like inner tube water polo. So they literally had inner tube water polo, which was hysterical.
And you can create a team with your friends, or if you just want to join a team, you can actually go up to the Student Life, up to the desk upstairs and tell them, hey, I want to join a team, and they'll help you with finding a team. That way you're able to do that. And also another thing students get involved with on campus is jobs. We also do have on-campus employment opportunities for our students. Sometimes it's harder for you as an incoming freshman, but once you start hitting your sophomore year and above, they are always sending out student involvement emails that show you anything going on campus, any employment opportunities. That's how a lot of our students will end up covering some additional costs, some living costs.
Yeah, and Rob Lohman is going to be joining us for our financial aid Q&A that we're doing, so he'll talk to you all a little bit more about federal work study and what that means. But just know that that is something that we offer here at JU. We do it a little bit uniquely as well, because you'll actually have the option whether or not you want to keep that money for yourself or apply it to your tuition. I don't want to steal Rob's thunder, so you guys should definitely tune in to the financial aid info session that we're doing. But yeah, just know that federal work study and campus work study are both options for students.
And we'll make sure that we give you guys plenty of notice on when those Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives will be and what the topics will be. That way, if you don't want to tune into every single one, you can tune into the ones that really match your interests. And we'll make sure we put those on the official Instagram and official Facebook soon.
Ryan McKenzie says, I'm interested, how much is the application fee?
So the application fee is typically $30, but here and here only, today, 1 day sale, you can jump on it.
Well,
Jump on this deal.
Yes, so if you type this into the, on the application, it'll say pay $30 fee here. It'll ask you if you have an application fee waiver. If you type in this fee waiver right here, jump on it. Dan also wrote it in the comments in the live feed. So you can type it in on the application feed. That just lets us know that you watched the live feed, that you tuned in here. Yes, there's theme music playing. I don't know if you can hear this right now. Jump on it. You'll get the application for free. So basically, application
It's not going to hurt you to apply at all.
it literally does not hurt you to apply to JU.
Yeah, we've already
because
taken,
It's no harm, no foul.
Yep, all you have to do is start that application, submit
Exactly.
it, get us an official transcript. We've already waived the fee for you using that code. We'd love to get your application.
It'll take you like 20 minutes out of your day, and that's it. It might take you more than 20
We
minutes.
got
out
one
of your
more.
day.
Karen Strong is asking, what is there to do around Jacksonville? She's from out of town.
Oh my
Ooh.
gosh, there's so much to do
I'm
around
gonna let you
Jacksonville.
answer this one.
Jax is a really fun city. I'm originally from the Tampa area, which is also, a lot of people always ask me because they think they're very comparable cities. But Jax is a really fun city. There's so much to do because there's so many different pockets. So it's the largest city landmass in the US, which you'll hear that fact like 500 times a day if you move here. But so there's like the beach, which is always like very walkable and bikeable, and everybody there is just super laid back and very beachy, like what you would expect. And then the downtown area is really up and coming and stuff like that. They're doing a lot of really exciting stuff there. There's an area called Riverside, which is really like kind of hip and trendy with like local bars and restaurants and coffee shops and art and stuff like that. There's like farmers markets and arts and craft fests like weekly, like not just like once in a while, but like weekly here. So there's like always stuff to do on campus. There's always stuff to do. We have something called Porter Fest once a year, which is like a massive music festival, arts festival, like all this type of thing all week long, which is really, really cool. You have a ton of sports teams in the area, which is a lot of fun to always go to. We get discounted Jaguars tickets once a year, which is awesome. Yeah, there's just a bunch, so I love Jacksonville.
On campus and off campus, there's so much to do. We require our students to live on campus for their first 3 years because not only out in the city of Jacksonville, but on campus every single night there's something going on, whether it's a guest speaker, whether it's a concert, a movie, trivia night, art walk. There's so many different things to really get involved with. And if there's something specific you're looking for in a city, do a Google search. I bet you Jacksonville has it. We have city, we have beach, we have country, we've got, almost everything you're looking for. It's the best of, all types of worlds, which is
Fun
great.
fact, Jacksonville a year and a half ago, or a year ago now, was just ranked the number 2 city that people are most searching wanting to move to in the US. So like number 2 in the country, like the whole country, everyone is wanting to move to Jacksonville. And we were just featured in this really big food magazine because in like literally the title of the article, it was really funny, was like, we can't believe how cool Jacksonville is being right now, which I was like, that's so appropriate because Jacksonville is being so cool right now.
And none of us are originally from Jacksonville. You know, we ended up coming to school here and loved it so much we decided to stay and recruit students like yourself. So obviously there's some good here.
Yeah.
We do have one more.
Dan keeps lying to us.
They were just curious about, is it necessary to turn in letters of recommendation, resumes, or interviews?
It's not, no. So we kind of hit on it just a little bit earlier on, but basically the only thing we require you to do in order to apply is we do require the actual online application information. We require an essay, and then we require your official high school transcripts. Anything else you want to submit to us, including test scores, is completely optional. So that includes resumes, that includes letters of recommendation. Again, that includes test scores. Anything else like that, you're more than welcome to submit to us. Just keep in mind, anything you do submit to us additional, we will take it into consideration. So if you're kind of on the fence, just know like that was completely optional. You did not have to submit that to us. And if you don't send it to us, we won't think any differently of you because we didn't require it in the first place.
And if you're ever curious if you should submit something or if it's going to help or hurt you, give us a call. We're very open. We'll let you know on whether or not we think it's a good idea. As far as admissions interviews, we're a school that doesn't require them unless you are applying to our honors program. There is always some form of interview. But some colleges do require that, and so you want to make sure that when you are applying for those to those schools or participating in those interviews, same with your essay, just make sure that you've got your best foot forward and you're able to explain to them kind of what you did in high school, what your goals are.
So I think we're getting to the point where we're going to wrap up, but before we go, do you guys have 1 or 2 little items that maybe they should take with them after watching this?
Go apply. It's not always free. When schools, you can call different schools and say, hey, do you have a fee waiver code? Some schools do, some schools don't. We do them at certain times a year, so we're giving you this opportunity. Go jump on it because it's early. You're not back to school yet. You've got some free time. We only need 9th, 10th, and 11th grade grades to review your application. We didn't mention that earlier, but you not having started your senior year is fine. You can request that transcript from your high school anyway.
My only advice would just be don't stress the fact that you're even making an effort right now and it's August 3rd to learn about the application and you haven't even started your senior year yet you're already steps ahead of probably I would say 70 or 80% of your senior class. So don't stress, you're already ahead of the game, you're already putting your best foot forward. So just keep at this pace. Like, don't think that you're behind in any way, shape, or form. Like, take your time, do these applications, make sure they're exactly what you want them to be. If you have questions, please contact your admission officers at any schools that you're like applying to. That is quite literally what our jobs are. I promise you, we like sit at our desks waiting for students to call us about applications because that's what our jobs are. So please ask us questions about the applications. Don't be embarrassed. We know that that's not your area of expertise. That's our area of expertise, so we're here to help. And again, just enjoy your senior year. The application process does not have to be this big, whole scary thing. It should be this exciting thing because you all have worked so hard to get to where you are, so we want to try and help you enjoy that time. So again, just know that you're ahead of the game. You got this. We got you.
And I would just add one thing to that. When you are applying, just be proactive. As soon as you hit that submit button, don't be afraid to email or call me and say, hey Dan, I just applied, could you check on my application? Just showing a little bit of that. Being proactive and showing that you're interested in it is really going to get us to speed up your application process because we get a lot of apps coming in.
And we're really glad that you joined us today. Again, we look forward to hearing from you. If you guys have any questions for our next one, feel free to continue. You can send them in or comment on the Instagram post too or the Facebook, and then we'll do them for the next one. Again, we got that fee waiver code right here. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Go Dolphins.